Welcome to the Circle of Trust podcast with your host, law firm CMO Keith Dyer. Brought to you by LEXGRO, the leader in law firm marketing strategy, training, and implementation. If you're ready to grow your law firm with predictable case flow and revenue, you're in the right place.
Hello and welcome everyone to LEXGRO's Circle of Trust podcast. I'm very excited today to bring Northern Virginia personal injury attorney Dagoberto Rodriguez. Did I do a good job pronouncing it?
Yeah, pretty close.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So my Spanish is decent. It can be a little, I lived in Miami for a while, so I spoke it for a long time, but then I got away from it. And, you just don't have the same success with the language when you're not using it all the time. So we work a lot with Hispanic law firms, though, and in the past, and I we actually work a lot with Venezuelans, and that I would
Oh,
also tell everybody that Dagoberto's nationality is originally Venezuelan. So tell us how you got into being a lawyer and how you got to Washington, D.C.
I mean, I was in Venezuela. I grew up there, and then I went to law school there. But you go to law school right after or medical school, whatever career you decide to choose, right after high school. My dad was a general of the army. Chavez had recently won the elections. My dad was not in good terms with Chavez. Sent me over to the United States. I have an uncle in Maryland, and I ended up in Virginia, in Northern Virginia. And then after a few years, I completed an LLM because my at the time my thought was I'm gonna do English classes, then a master's, and then I go back. So by the time I was done with English, my dad was like, it's not the right time. Stay there. So I completed I completed, well, I almost completed an MBA, and that's when I met my wife. And then I completed my LLM, and my dad was like, it's not the right time. My wife is from Texas. She's like, no way, I'm not gonna move to Venezuela. And I ended up going to law school. And then in law school, when I took the class torts, I was like, okay, this is something that is interesting. We don't have that kind of that system of compensation in our countries. And then by default, I don't know how, to be honest. I mean, no, through a friend, I got a job soon as I graduated from law school. After graduating from law school with a personal injury lawyer, I was there for a few months, and then I went on my own, and now the rest is history.
Nice. Did you get your LLM in Venezuela or in the
Law
States?
here in the United States, American University in Washington, D.C., and then I got
Oh,
my
what
law
that's a great
degree.
school. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with that university. Yes.
yeah, and then I got my law degree from the University of Kansas in Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're Rock Chalk Jayhawk, right?
Yes, sir. For 2 years.
I
I
think I
completed
may
my
have
degree.
murdered that. I can't remember. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, rock chalk. Yeah, Jayhawk. Exactly
Yeah,
like that.
big basket. That's a
Mm-hmm.
big basketball school. It's got such a good tradition with basketball.
Yes,
So
sir.
I know that. How long have you been practicing now in your law firm?
14, 14 years. On my own, without partners, since 2018, January 2018. So, yeah, it's been a while. But I did some other stuff like when I was until 2022, I did some criminal defense, some immigration defense, and personal injury. And in 2022, I made the decision, hey, let's just do PI. And, we, through the use of social media, we gained some recognition, more clients. And now that's what we do. Personal injury, motor vehicle accidents, and sleep and fall. We don't mess around with medical malpractice because of the laws in Virginia, Maryland, Texas. They're not very favorable for medical malpractice. And so we just don't mess around with that.
And med mal is such a difficult. It pays well when you get a good case, but the good cases are few and far between. They're very hard to
Oh
find.
yes,
It's very
they
it's
are.
very hard to it's very hard to market a med mal law firm as well. Very difficult.
It
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, to be honest, we got a few leads, but it was the cases were not suitable. Like the negligence wasn't there. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, I got a elective surgery, for example, and the doctor didn't do a good job, or the doctor, I mean, oh, I had too much pain after the surgery. So that's kind of like most of the cases that we got from med malpractice. Thank God, because it's when you get a case, it's because something really bad happened.
And it's so difficult to do the legwork and the research that you need to find, the fault and the guilt or whatever, and the
Yeah,
mistakes that were made. It takes a lot of work. So
yeah.
in terms of, this podcast, just to talk about it in general, is really built around helping law firms understand what other lawyers are going through with marketing, and then how maybe what's been successful, what's not been successful. In your experience since 2018 being on your own, or just in general, what have been your biggest frustrations about marketing your firm?
The cost of advertising with Google Ads is one of the issues. But the most, not I mean, price is price, right? I mean, it's a market thing. It's finding the right person to create the strategy for you to be successful in marketing. There's a bunch of people out there claiming to be digital marketers, and all they do is to spend your money, and or they overcharge, and still don't get the results that you were expected. I think also, um, the biggest, the most common mistake that is made by lawyers is trying to do it all at once. Spend all their money in SEO, Google Ads, digital market, social media, and without having the budget. And I've seen people burning a lot of money, not getting the results, and not knowing how to choose a good marketer. I mean, it happened to me, thank God. I mean, I'm more conservative on that side. I try to do my research. I try to be test things first. But the biggest frustration, if I remember correctly, has been with SEO. Everybody's, oh, you pay a bunch of money for people to position your web page on the top of Google and search, and I mean, I've never been on top. And no matter how much money we put in, how much we post, it's been like it's been an uphill battle for us.
And so what, in terms of that, what is sort of your fear about maybe not getting it right or not having it? Is it mostly about just burning through a lot of money?
Yeah, exactly. And PI is a game of, you need to be patient, because cases, if you're lucky, you can. My firm is working on a system to work cases and close cases faster than the other firms, but still, it takes 8 to 9 months from the moment you sign up a case to the moment you get your,
Yeah,
your payment.
it's the
Uh,
I'm familiar with this. Obviously, it's cash flow.
exactly. So if you don't have a lot of money and saved up a lot of money, then you run the risk of running out of money while trying to get more clients. And clients are not going to pay immediately, but clients are going to pay. Average payout day for time frame for a PI firm is like a year and a half after you get a client. So it's frustrating, and not everyone wants to. I know pretty good PI lawyers that they stay employees because they don't have the funds to, or they don't have the knowledge to get the cases. And what we did was we invested in social media first, and a little bit in Google Ads, so the telephone, to get something, get the telephones to ring. And then as we made more money, we started shifting more to Google Ads, as we found that, at least for my firm, that's what works best, Google Ads. But then it becomes very expensive. especially when you start getting more cases. I don't know, the algorithm is like working against you, or there's more lawyers right now. But I can tell you the price of the acquisition, acquiring a client, it goes up. The more money you make, the more money you spend. So I don't know, it's tricky. So if you're gonna get into PI, you gotta be very careful and talk to people like you to find the right strategy to start marketing and start spending money.
And that all makes complete sense to me. In your search for trying to find people to help you, where have you gone to, where have you looked? Have you done Google searches or YouTube searches, or has it been on LinkedIn?
Google, Facebook. I mean, you start getting once you start looking at Google and LinkedIn, you start getting ads and Facebook. I don't recommend getting those
Sure. Yeah.
companies that are the lead finding companies. I don't know what they call them. The marketing agencies that you see in Google, the ones that find leads for lawyers. I mean, unless you're an immigration lawyer or a family divorce lawyer, but for PI, they suck. To be honest, I haven't had one good experience with those companies. Like I mentioned to you in our previous meeting, there was one company that every person who called had an African accent and not an African American. I'm not talking about people of African, I mean Africans, like people with an foreign people.
You did. Yeah,
And
you did tell me about that. They were
and I
literally
was
of
like,
African origin.
yeah, yeah.
How
And I
odd.
was like,
Yeah.
and they all from Maryland. And I was like, what? And I started researching. Okay, African population located in Maryland, and I couldn't find like, like you find the Latino barrio, like the African American neighborhood, the white, but there's no like African concentrated population in just one place. And I started getting in Maryland because they all came from Maryland, all the same 410 area code. And I'm like, what's going on? And then when I was doing the follow up, they wouldn't answer. And they didn't even have those numbers didn't even have a voicemail. And I was like, okay, this guy completely took advantage of me. Then I can give you more examples, but in my experience, guys, those services that you see in Facebook, we find the cases for you. It's all BS. They want to charge you $5,000 a month with a budget of 3,000, and I'm like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. How are you gonna get me clients with a $3,000 budget and you charging me more than my budget? Like that doesn't make any sense. Even like the big companies, the most expensive, they charge you 20% of your budget, which I also think that is very expensive. But it's just a comparison for people who doesn't know. If you're listening and you haven't spoken to different companies, it didn't make any sense, and I don't recommend them at all. But again, they need to talk to people like you who can guide them to the right company.
Well, thank you. I hope so. Most of the time we're able to do that. So, have you read any books or taken any like training on the law firm marketing or law firm growth?
Yeah, I have read I mean, if I'm honest with you, the digital marketing books, I don't even remember the names because I know that I read three that were recommended in Amazon, but they were written by people who run these agencies. And at the end, those books, my experience was they tell you how they do things in a way that you think that you can do them, but then you're gonna end up calling them. So it's just BS. I took the Google class.
They give you just enough information for you to want a little you have to talk to them to get the actual idea of what they're how to implement it, or
eh,
how to
eh,
actually, there's like key questions that are not answered. Is that
to
what you're
get you
saying?
more confused. To get you more confused. I mean, I took
Yeah.
the PPC class from Google, and I got the certification and all that. I got a class. I took a couple of classes in I forgot the site. It's one of those sites where they have a bunch of courses online, and it's pretty famous. I don't remember the name, but yeah, I took two classes for one for a Facebook ads. The other one was Instagram ads, which is now the same as Meta or Meta. I took a class. I took a digital class with this lawyer, Mike Mandel, who's super famous in TikTok. And I have taken Instagram courses with influencers. At the end of the day, my recommendation is just read about how each one of those systems work. So you know when you're talking to the expert, you're not lost. And but I mean, for can you learn how to do it? Like probably, but it's gonna take you years. And you're not there to. I mean, you didn't go to law school to learn how to be a marketer. It's a waste of time. You just gotta run your firm. I've been part of academies where they teach you how to they give you advice on how to advertise. The consensus is social media, if you know how to work it, works best because it's cheaper than Google. But at the end of the day, my advice again is if you're gonna do it yourself, just try organic. You post your videos, you post it in all your social medias, LinkedIn. Make sure all of your friends and family know what you do, and that way you don't spend money and you start getting some cases. And then, if anything, just do a little boost on the videos where you get the most engagement with your ads, and then when you make money, hire someone like you so they can get better results now that they have money to spend.
So do you have any people that you follow that talk about this topic? Like,
I Gary Vaynerchuk, and I read all the books, Gary V. Then I follow the CEO lawyer.
oh yeah.
I
Hmm.
yeah, I follow
I'm sorry, what was the first name you mentioned?
Gary V.
Gary V. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I read all his books, and he has good ideas for you to like use social media in a way that at the beginning you don't spend money. Yeah, and then who else I follow that is those lawyers that I mentioned, Mike Mandel and it's Lord Uru Ugu. It's also a very famous lawyer in TikTok and Instagram.
What was his name again?
Let me check my phone, but I think it's Ugu Lord. I'll give you the exact name. Exact Ugu.
I know the
Uh,
CEO lawyer. That's Ali Awad.
yeah, Ali or what? Yeah. So yeah, he has some academies and some boot camps where you can learn how to advertise too. But again, if you take his courses, they're gonna tell you when you make money, you have to find somebody who can do it for you and help you advertise. Because it's not the
So
same spending $3,000 a month than spending $100,000 a month.
sure. How much do you think you've invested trying to solve the problem up until
Oh,
now? I mean, I'm not looking for any specific number, but like
as,
over the
as of right
course of
now,
you having the
a few millions easily. Like if not a few, like over $2 million easily. Like
wow.
last year it was almost $1 million in advertising. This year is gonna be over $1 million. And before that, it's oh, I bet you like we are already spent $3 million so far in trying to find the answer and trying to find more clients.
I got you.
Yeah.
So if you were able to find the ideal solution and you were able to sort of paint a picture of what that would look like, tell me what it would look like. What would your law firm look like if you felt like the marketing was going very well for you? Obviously, you'd be getting consistent cases from the marketing.
I'd be, of course, growing in size at least double and working towards my goal is at some point within the next 5 years to spend $1 million a month in marketing. So if everything was perfect and the market was good and we were getting cases, that's my goal. That's what I imagine my firm if everything was perfect.
Okay. And so what do you think is sort of the most painful thing about not having a solution to your problem? Like, what is it that you feel is the biggest pain point you have? Is it just the uncertainty or like just the frustration of it?
The frustration and the changes in the algorithms. I think I mentioned to you that 2 years ago I was spending less but getting the same amount of cases. But when I say less, I was spending like probably of what I'm spending now. And now even spending even more than I had in my budget for this year, we're not seeing the traction. So some people that I have interviewed blame the algorithm. Some other people blame the change in presidency, which it doesn't make any sense because for PI, you get into an accident, you go to the doctor, and then you get compensated. That's that's not going to change with any president in no kind of economy. We don't get affected by the economy. It might be tougher to get more money from the insurance company if they're hurting because of economy, but at the end of the day, it doesn't preclude people from driving. People still have to drive, right? Go to school, go to work. So and the the lack of expertise because like I said, if people claim to be something, they paint you this picture, you spend the money, and then you realize within I have fired marketers in like a week because it's I mean I see the results, I see the system, I see the expense, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And but yeah, the frustration is the biggest pain that we have right
So you're when so in other words, that makes what makes this urgent for you? Just the fact that you need to grow or
Well, the
that
fact that you need to grow cash flow, we grew our firm in like in 2 years, we went from 3 years now. We went from 5 employees to now 40 employees. So of course, it's an operation that requires more cash flow and more cases to have our attorneys uh, busy.
okay.
And of course, to keep growing, because as you know, everybody's afraid. I'm not that afraid of, but in the PI world, there's some rumors and of equity money, private equity coming into play, giving money to lawyers to advertise and spend. So I just, I want to stay ahead and grow my firm to a point where there's always going to be competition, but to the
I,
point where we
I
stay
just
relevant.
yeah, this is a very, very popular topic, and I've been doing some research on it. We can discuss it more, but I think you're making the right moves. You need to be ahead of the game with that. We're probably still, I don't know, 10 years away from it being, and that could be wrong, could be 5 years. It's 5 to 10 years away from it being something that's a real direct threat to firms like yours. But you want to be in a good position if it does come around because, it could be that you could sell and make a lot of money in the sale, but you also would maybe want to stick around and continue doing what you're doing. And there are still opportunities for I think you'll still have opportunities for firms that are locally owned or regionally owned because you're able to give people a more personal experience because people want a good like friend lawyer. They don't want to be an institutional number in these
Hmm.
situations, especially if they're catastrophically injured.
Yes.
Um, so I think that's a good thing. What do you feel like is the one thing that you're sort of missing in your marketing now? And I'm not going to answer this for you, but what I hear you keep saying is strategy and sort of a bigger picture and an understanding of data. Is that all correct?
Yeah, I'm missing a strategist. I'm missing a person who can come and say, this is what we're gonna do. This is what the data I have shows. This is how we're gonna do it. And but I think one of the pieces that marketers miss is I needed a strategist who can tell me how I'm gonna achieve my goals and data driven and all that. But at the same time, he has to give me strategy or she for right now. This is what we're gonna do for the future. This is what we're gonna do to make the phones ring off the hook immediately. And not
Okay.
everybody's in a position they can do that expense, but that's that's where I am right. I just need certainty that this person can make it happen. And with regards to strategies, find someone who can brand your name in where you are. So, to my previous point, to stay relevant, even though there's competitors and firms with more money than you.
Okay. So if you could sort of wave a magic wand and create a program that delivered everything you need, just kind of quickly, what would it include?
Strategies for branding, short and long term. Then strategies for making the phones ring immediately and strategies for growth.
Okay. Are you having any other aspects, any other challenges with growing your firm right now that are not marketing related? Are you struggling with, like, I know a lot of firms I'm working with are having a hard time finding good people to hire.
It's I mean, I talk to lawyers who are like working because they want to work, millionaires. They've been doing this for decades, and it's people. Working with people and finding the right people is the one of the biggest issues that we have. And and even though I have a good team when it comes to lawyers and paralegals, is the staff. That's where we are having issues. Finding a staff that stays and completes the task the way we want it.
Okay. So this is the last question, and this is kind of an interesting
Yes,
one,
sir.
but I like this one. So fill in these blanks for me.
Mhm.
I want, if I'm you, I want to go from here, X to Y, so that I can accomplish Z. What would it, I want to go from this to that so I can accomplish what? What would that, how would you complete that sentence?
It all comes down to money. So I want to go from 7 figures to 8 figures so we can get, and I'm talking about an attorney fees, so we can get, uh, so we can become a national recognized with presence in all the United States.
I love that. That's that's such a good answer. It is. That's like the perfect answer. That's
We'll
perfect.
see.
Yeah, well, I really like this and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you,
You
Keith.
know, what else? Yeah, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about that overall that you would want to share with our subscribers about growing their law firms? Any advice?
Well, I mean, if you don't have money to market, to do marketing, I highly advise you to find, and I'm just saying this because I got a call from a young lawyer. He's been practicing for 5 years. He knows how to try cases. He doesn't have money. So he is asking me to work with him, his cases, give him the support he needs, and we're gonna be working on a percentage basis. So if you don't have money, try to partner up with lawyers, like to either get guidance or work even the smaller cases. Hold because I mean sometimes we get a smaller cases, they take your time. In my firm, we don't say no to any case. And it's just because I'm thinking the big picture. Like this person, if I take care of their little case right now, they're gonna recommend me in the future with someone else.
That's very
So
smart. Yeah. So you're creating a good experience for them when they call for whatever reason, so that if they whenever they have some major problem, they can remember you and come back to you. I think that's brilliant.
So if you're a young lawyer or a lawyer who wants to start PI, just call those firms like mine and offer your services and even if they want to do a 50-50, even though you do all the work, just think the big picture and know that this is not gonna happen. It never crossed my mind that I was gonna have 40 employees or that I was gonna be making like all the money that we make and getting all the cases, the expenditures. This is wherever you are is temporary. So just put the work and roll up the sleeves, like they say, and start making connections and call. You'll be surprised as to how many people will be there to help you, and that my firm included.
This was good advice, and we really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much, Dagoberto, and
Oh,
we
thank
look
you.
forward to hopefully working with you more here in the near future.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for listening to the Circle of Trust powered by LEXGRO. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow us and leave a review. Want to grow your law firm faster? Book a free strategy call at lexgro.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep innovating. Let's grow with LEXGRO.